Hi, everyone. Thank you for participating in our today's webinar on attracting Chinese learners to overseas language camps. Before we officially start, there are some housekeeping notes we would like to share first. During our webinar, we want to make this experience as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, thoughts, or insights that you want to share, just please feel free to use the Q&A section on Zoom. And we'll be actively monitoring your questions, and we will have this dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar to address those questions that you have. And we will run some poll questions during the presentation. So if you see it pop up, we do encourage you to participate as well. And the last, the whole webinar will be recorded. And if you would like to receive the recording and also the presentation, just please feel free to reach out to us afterwards, and we'll be happy to share upon request. All right, let's just get into that. Just please allow me to introduce myself first. I'm Grace Zhu, and I'm the China branch director of Walnut. And some of you might already know us. Walnut China branch has been providing market insights and assistance with institutions, education groups, associations, and program providers with our in-field knowledge and market experience. After the pandemic, the short-term programs and overseas language camps has returned to Chinese parent site once again. So on today's webinar, we want to share some market overview on the sector and also provide some practical recommendations. To better understand the customer market, we would also like to show the recent survey conducted by our team with the result of 500 parents who's interested in sending their kids overseas for language camps. The survey result will be presented later by my colleague, Susu, and our senior project consultant, who also joined with me today. From the macro perspective, 2023 was a year of economic recovery and development after pandemic. And in China, the economy showed a recovery trend of a wave-like development and also progress. And the consumption is expected to continue to maintain a quite mild recovery pattern in 2024, especially for catering and also tourism. And at the same time, there are a series of regulations and also policies have released in technology, real estate, tutoring, and private education sectors, which also stimulated the demand of overseas education and related programs. So over here, I want to bring up our first poll question. If our team can help with that. So compared to the previous year, what are your expectations for 2024 in terms of the number of Chinese students? Just please feel free to join the poll question, and we will show the result in a couple of minutes. Given the intensive competition here in China education system right now, increasing number of Chinese middle-class families considering sending their kids to Asian destinations instead. So besides the traditional English-speaking destinations, demand Asian destinations is also increasing due to various factors such as safety, cultural background, and program price. So during the survey, we could find similar results reflecting from the parents. The domestic study tours are also developing quickly ever since COVID. For example, winter camps are in high demand for this winter, especially in the northeast of China, for many Chinese parents who are willing to pay for education and travel. To give an example, perhaps you heard it from the news. there has been a wave of promotion of the city Harbin, which is located in the northeast of China. During this year's Spring Festival period, Harbin received a total of 10 million tourists, with a daily average year-on-year increase of nearly 82%, including a number of study tour groups have set from different locations. Meanwhile, many educators have also noticed that the age of the children who are studying abroad is getting younger. In the past, the main market for study tours was in high schools, and in recent years, it has gone into middle schools and sometimes even elementary schools. And lastly, we noticed that young learners market have bounced back in 2023 and continuing to rise. I believe it will be the quite same for a lot of educators joining us today. And as some of the educators already started the recruitment for summer 2024, the popularity of short-term programs for young learners is currently at a really high point. And it is estimated the number of students weeks will continue to increase compared to the same period last year. So let's take a look at the result of the question. If my colleague can bring it up, and we can see over here for summer 2024, majority expecting there are more students compared to last year. I would say, like in general, this is also in line with our findings. Probably the market is recovering and slowly, mildly, but we can expect even a little bit higher number compared to the same time last year. So we would like to provide a macro level picture on the market trends and what could be expected in 2024, as Bob mentioned. And for the next part, I'll pass the word to Susu, and she will share some key findings of the survey conducted towards two parents. So over to you, Susu.
All right. Thank you, Grace, for the introduction and for the macro sharing. Right. Before we dive into the insight that we gathered from our survey, let me briefly walk you through the methodology so you can better understand like the general profile of the group of Chinese parents that we reached out to. We initiated our survey with the goal of gathering insight from 500 parents who have expressed interest in sending their children to overseas language camps. And of course, with one of their children aged between 6 to 18. When I say one of the children, meaning that 20% of the parents that we surveyed actually have more than one child. And nearly 80% of their second or third child are under 9 years old. So here we only include the age distribution of their first child. Additionally, among them, nearly 26% reported having sent their children already to a language camp at least once. And we didn't set any income filter. As you can see, however, the parents considering an overseas language camp naturally belongs to the middle to high income group. We also include parents in different cities. Actually, they are from 10 tier 1 and new tier 1 cities, distributed from the south to the north of China, with different sample sizes based on our experience and the local population. In doing so, we actually aimed to capture perspectives from parents located in diverse regions and in different economic environments to cover a whole picture. So the first question we asked was about their preference on summer or winter camps. This is a quite, I would say, fundamental question. And this question will provide, of course, their preference on program type, but also their insight into like whether parents are merely triggered by the idea of an overseas camp, or they actually have taken the time to explore or to understand their own preference and their own needs. We can see that more than half of the parents prefer summer camp. For opposite reason, I guess, like the weather, like a longer holiday, and more outdoor activities and so on. On contrary, there are less prefer winter camps due to its overlapping with the Spring Festival. That's especially for China. We also see a geographical difference when this comes to no difference group. Like in Beijing and Xi'an, more than half of the parents don't have any preference over the time of the program, while in Hangzhou, nearly 80% of the parents do have their own thoughts on that. Then we looked into the destination. The destination preference, and we actually found that US stays the most favored destination in the overall picture, and followed by UK and Canada. Based on the survey, actually a lot of parents, they consider language camp preparation for a longer term overseas study. So this long-term popular, like the long-term program popular destinations are also well perceived by parents too in the short-term program markets. And we can see that Australia, on the other hand, isn't that popular compared to its position in the long-term program. That is probably because of the geographic issue and also the season difference. And you see that we mark in yellow, Singapore exceeds Australia, becoming the fourth favorite destination. Asian countries are more popular these days in China in both short-term program and long-term program markets. We will talk about them in following slides with a city breakdown. And also, you can see some European countries that we mentioned. It has a certain market share too. We can still see, even if we didn't talk about a lot of European countries, we can still see a great preference difference among them. That is influenced also by multiple factors, and we will get into that later slides too. And we did this city breakdown for so-called traditional destinations. In the chart on the right, we demonstrated the destination preference in different cities. As I said before, we found that US, you can look at the black bar, ranks the first for tier 1 cities, and Hangzhou also, where it's more actually economically developed and with more international education resource. And based on the response, the UK is especially favored by parents in Xi'an and tier 1 city, Canada by Chengdu and tier 1 city. So I guess you figure out that parents from tier 1 cities also tend to choose more destinations that are open to different options. And here is a city breakdown for Asia countries. I would say it's not surprising that Asia countries are very popular in short-term program market too, as they're already taking market share in the long-term markets. Based on the chart on the right, we can see that Asian countries are especially favored by parents from new tier 1 cities, which I guess they have lower budget based on their economic situation. We can also see a general preference to Singapore, and we mentioned that before, which is Singapore is a top choice for parents in Nanjing, in Qingdao, and in Hangzhou, even exceeding those so-called traditional destinations in the last slides. Well, so we will suggest educator could be aware of and also be ready for this shift of destination preference in the market, given the current economic situation. And talking about European countries, they actually have a certain market share too, thanks to their heritage sites, attractive culture, and beautiful signs. And we observe that the promotion of a country can greatly influence parents' preference. What does that mean? For example, Hangzhou City has long been signed as a friendly city with nice in France since 2000. And France and Germany, they've been long promoted their like positive image in China. So you can see the difference, like the preference to those countries. And European providers can consider tier 1 cities as parents there are more open to different destinations. Well, taking a look at, for example, Nanjing, based on the result of this survey, and Xi'an, where parents' preference shows relatively greater diversity. But regarding different destination, we need to look into, like, we need a bigger size into different cities so as to choose the best city for different projects. Well, while considering overseas language camp, actually more than 80% of the parents that we surveyed are also interested in domestic camp because it's familiar, convenient, and they consider it safe. So we also ask parents' opinion on the advantage of domestic camp compared with an international one. And the result is demonstrated as below. Safety is the first concern. I guess there's no surprise. Parents feel safer when their children are in China because they feel children are closer. It is also one of the advantages that Asia countries have. And after safety, we can see that parents want their kids to learn about Chinese culture. In recent year, China really encouraged people to do so and greatly promotes so-called cultural confidence. So this really influenced their opinion, or at least the reason they're choosing domestic camps. Also, with recent stricter education-related regulation, parents think the domestic program quality is higher than before. And as for overseas educator, we could be ready for such a domestic camps challenge, while emphasizing the unique feature of international camp, which is different than the domestic one. Educator could also try to keep up with domestic camps' advantage in other aspects. For example, when sending their children abroad, parents might be concerned about the language barrier. And you see the fourth option, is Chinese-speaking staff. So if there's language barrier, they might be concerned for some confusion or misunderstanding. So having a Chinese-speaking staff could be an advantage. Right. When choosing an overseas language camp, what are the most important factors? Safety, again, come the first. And after that, we have reputation of agencies and of educators. We can see that on the right side, the experience of the team leader comes the fourth place. By team leader, we actually mean that person who brings the group of children to the camp, looks after them, sending so-called daily report to their parents and bring those children back, that person. And actually, agencies are very important in the markets, especially for K-12 short-term programs compared with other types. In our previous webinars, we've been emphasizing the importance of agencies, but for K-12 short-term program, it's even more important because parents send their children to the camp based on the trust they lend to the agency. That is also why the reputation of the agency ranks very important here. And I believe our audience today should be agree with me that when Chinese parents, they have a problem, instead of looking for help from the in-campus staff, who could probably instantly solve the problem, they prefer to talk with their agency who might be based in China. There's more trouble, but still they prefer to talk with that agency. And this also reconfirmed the point that we mentioned about Chinese speaking stuff. And the message here, I guess, is that agencies play a very important role in K-12 short-term program, and educators need to have good quality and have enough number of partnered agencies in the market. This is the way to ensure the overall experience of the parents and students, and also the way to secure the market share. Another factor that we looked into is that the information channel that the parents trust the most. But before we start our sharing, let's bring up our second poll question. If you could help me. Thank you. What channel for attracting students to your short-term language program have been the most effective for you? So feel free to vote for the suitable options, or you can have a look at the rankings here. We have the program website, social media platform, and events in school as the top three, which more than half of the parents trust the most. This also reflects the three type of channel of promotion method educators could use. The first one, program website, which actually refers to the web page where parents get the information about the camp. And I would say it's mostly the agency website. With the firewall and language barrier, not a lot of parents will actually visit our website like the campus provider's website. It is the program introduction in Chinese on the agency's website that makes the connection, makes the first impression to the parents. So it is very important to get the right information on the right agency's website. And social media, of course, is very important too, as in all the markets. An educator can establish its own official accounts and publish one-hand information in the Chinese social media landscape. This would be really a great support for your partnered agencies. Just imagine if your agencies were talking about your camp and introduce it to parents, and then the parents listen to that, they go back home, they turn on their phone, and they just easily find additional information on WeChat about the camp in Chinese, and the level of understanding and the level of trust they could have for the camp will be rising directly. And partnering with school is very ideal. It's a very ideal situation, but we all know that it's harder to achieve. Partnership with school can ensure a stable student source, and that was proven even during the pandemic period. The reputation of the school can also help the camp to develop its market. Actually, it's the same for agencies. If you work with a big agency, that will be helping to develop the market too. However, the negotiation period with the school can be longer, but it can always bring the great result. All right, before we go to the next page, maybe we can check on the result of the poll question. Okay, well, I see 70% of you are working with educational agencies. That's a good choice. And I see 20% of you are in the social media advertising in the landscape. I strongly suggest you to do so. Actually, it's not really a big budget to spend, but you will have really actual result from it. I wouldn't say any fast direct booking, but still that will help in the long term. Right, let's take a look at the budget. We asked about the budget range, and not surprisingly, parents prefer the cheaper program. With current economic situation, it's normal that people are more price sensitive, and this number could be a reference for you. Then we also ask about the preference of the program date, and we found that actually over the years, the preference shifted earlier. The recent education-related policy might influence this decision. You might know that students are not taking any academic-related after-school courses in holiday, and the government wants the student to have more free time. So their preferred date shift from July, August to June, July, probably because they are earlier released from school. And this also goes aligned with the Western students' schedule, and it gives provider a better opportunity to create a better nationality mix. And by the way, we also ask about the winter camp. However, as mentioned before, not a lot of parents choose a winter camp, so there were not enough valuable responses collected. The responses we did collect about a winter camp was concentrated to January to February. Then we ask about the preferred length of the program. Not surprisingly, most of favorite length is 2 weeks. Most of the program now promoted in the market is about 2 to 3 weeks. Then, when asked about the biggest obstacles, most parents mentioned the quality of the program. I wouldn't comment much on this point, as we already talked about this enough, like what would make parents consider a program high quality one. And besides the program itself, agency survey is also one important part of the overall experience. That's the one thing I want to mention. It's not only the experience that students having in the camp, but the before trip communication, during trip information, and after trip, all of that are very important. On this, I want to raise another 2 points. One is visa processing, and another one is suitable dates. Actually, parents here, they might have limited experience about visa processing, and they might need more time for the preparation and plan their time around an overseas camp. So it can be a good idea for us, for the educators, to focus on the promotion in time and leave parents a longer lead time to prepare the document, either the document for visa or choosing a suitable date. Speaking of which, I would like to mention the market circle for a short-term program that we created this chart. Here, let's bring up our third poll question before we started. What is your market strategy for sourcing Chinese students in China in 2024? Let's see if we're in time. Looking at the chart, actually, we divided the activities into 3 periods, which are marketing season, admission season, and a study period. In the marketing season, educators should actively be marketing around. We would recommend to arrange trip to China during this time if applicable, because regular meeting with agencies and giving some speech to their students would not only help the recruitment, I mean, a lot, like showing off somebody from actually the school or the camp showing off in the agency means a lot to student and parents. But also it will enhance the cooperation at the same time, your cooperation with the agency and showing the attention that we attach to this market. And this is also the time, like the marketing season is also the time to develop new partnership with agencies or talk with schools or proceed with other business developments. Then in the admission season, this is where we have the student intake. Educators should pay more attention to the communication with agencies. And agencies can be really, really grateful just to have a faster responding contact person from the provider side. And a certain level of flexibility will be appreciated too in regard of admission. And lastly, in the study period, educators should ensure the students' experience and provide more on-site support, of course. And it is also the time to take enough photo and videos during this time. If we could even share it timely with the agency or with the parents, it will be more appreciated. And it can also be used in future promotion with their permission. Right. Before we get to the next page, maybe we can have a look at the result of the poll question. Right. I see 55% of you already started recruitment effort in China market. Yeah, and we got 36% commencing recruitment in the early spring. Yeah, I think that's a good period. We are in the first day of March now. So it is the season, like it is the marketing season already. So for those who are not planning any trip yet, if you still have some time, yeah, it is the time for you to plan a trip or do some virtual mission or start to getting your outreach in China, and then you will have your student intake this summer already. Great, let's move to the next page. In all the parent surveys, 37% already decided to send their students for further overseas education. Well, in addition, like 47% of parents, they said like not decided yet, like they're thinking about it. So educator can consider to build the content with the fact that the language camp is not just one stop. It's not only cultural experience or language training or art or sport, but a preparation for their further education. Not only academical preparation, but a mental or getting mental preparation or getting used to the environment. The promotion and the content about the language camp can emphasize the use of it in students' pursuit of further study. For example, the promotion point could be students who attended this camp have more chance to be accepted by certain university, or we have certain connection with the university, like a proof to parents that this experience will not only get the children more globalized, but also prepare them for their further education. Then we also asked about the program type preference. We can see that out of the percentage, we can see that the distribution is quite balanced. In general, the most popular one is the culture-related program, and also followed by the exam preparation-related one. As mentioned in the last question, they're aiming for further study, and sightseeing is quite popular too. And actually, this is the last question of the survey. I hope those data has given you some straightforward understanding of your potential and customers, but I have to explain that we really have limited time here, so we couldn't share with you all the cross analysis of the result. For example, this type of program preference, we could do a city breakdown of the program type. Also, we could do some correlation between the destination and the budget. We can look deeper into that. So if you would like to know more about this market or bring your specific case to us, please just get in touch and then we'll be happy to have a deeper conversation on it. Well, now I guess it's a time for us to summarize the result and give some practical recommendations. So I will give the microphone back to Grace.
All right. Thank you so much, Susie, for sharing these key findings of the survey. On top of that, I'd like to also summarize it and provide some recommendations. We have noticed that the overall market share may be constantly changing, and there are various information acquisition channels make parents more diverse options in the screening process. But the agencies remain as an essential channel for the recruitment of young learners for their reputation and their rich experience. So choosing the suitable agents partners are still quite crucial to the educators. Other than the agencies, social media channels also play an important role during the program selecting process. The parents always turn to different platforms for more information, such as official websites, WeChat, Weibo, Redbook, and TikTok. Those Chinese platforms that are some of the main localized channels, and the program providers can fully utilize those platforms and also leverage the advantage of the market promotion. When it comes to the program types and the whole arrangements, the demand on English skills and themes after training sectors is also increasing. In addition, the types of domestic programs have become more diverse. Parents and students are no longer only satisfied with the language learning plus tourism. Some types of programs, such as cultural promotion and background enhancement, and the whole setting of the different thing can stand out in a variety of the market choices. As we have also noticed from the survey result, the quality and the experience of the group leaders are also important. It has been concerned by many parents. So the educators could put special emphasis based on the special needs of the Chinese market. Many of you must already have a certain experience in developing the China market. And you might also know that in the in-person communication has been extremely important and also useful when working with the Chinese partners. So it will be important to, it could be quite important to increase the opportunity to meet with agencies individually or join as part of overseas delegation. To give an example of some dedicated events, we had the honor to assist in the 2023 Study World China Roadshow organized by English UK last November. During the whole event, we helped with the agency's recruitment and the management in Beijing and Shenzhen. The event attracted nearly 30 English UK member schools and around 70 agencies to participate in each city. Such in-person events have been proved to be a friendly, focused, and efficient platform. The educators could receive a positive result within quite a short period of time. In this November, we will continue supporting English UK with the 2024 Study World Roadshow, which will be held in Beijing, Shanghai, and Chengdu. Lastly, besides the roadshow and trip missions, I would also like to share some of other services that we can offer where we can be helpful. We have been assisting industry organizations in different ways using our market knowledge and the long-term research abilities. We can provide a performance benchmark and a quite comprehensive market strategy for anyone maybe struggling in the market. Meanwhile, using our built agent network, we can also assist researching and introducing the most super agent partners to start engagement. We also have experience with the cost-effective solution for dedicating in-country representative who can be the key for all-rated market engagement. Lastly, we can provide customized year-round strategy support as well, sharing the first-hand market insights and a comprehensive strategy advisory by our dedicated specialists. If you would like to learn more on how and where we can be helpful, just please feel free to reach us. And for more information, valuable data, and ongoing insights, feel free to follow our LinkedIn page at Education. Additionally, you can also explore our websites, boneteducation.com, where we will regularly share our latest work and industry updates. Well, thank you, everyone. And I think let's take some questions. I saw there are a lot of questions already being asked in the Q&A section. And during the presentations, me and also my colleague already answered some. But we would like to continue with some questions. I saw there's one question. Could you please give us more details on the quality courses, not only language learnings? If I understand correctly, I believe this is related to program types, as we just mentioned, that the Chinese parents and students, they don't only want the typical English learning courses as before. We know probably pre-COVID, such types of the programs are often quite popular, but right now, as we just explained, there are more themed focused camps locally and overseas. So there's various choices for parents and students. So they want something can be, really enhance their background, and so they can have a quite nice experience after this whole campus experience. And also there's a question about the campus location. I think this refers to one of the options from our previous question, where we mean campus locations. We mean the exact location or city where the campus, where the school will be at. As you probably know, overseas, there are a lot of campus located in suburban areas where will be safety and really nice view positions. This could be quite popular among a certain group of students and parents. Well, also there are other types of the programs that are running directly inside of the schools, an institution, or even sometimes a university. We're located inside of a city and combined with the city tours. And that's what we mean on the campus locations, where parents and students probably will, questioning, what where they are located and if it's in line with their preference. And we also noticed that there are some questions about the relationship of the countries, and especially on Canada and China. Well, and we can see over here, actually, I don't think, at least from the survey result, I don't think it will be a factor. We can see that over the survey, US remain as the most popular destination for parents and children, but UK and Canada both at among the top three for parents. So I don't think, like, long-term speaking, the political reasons will have become like a factor, when choosing the certain destinations. As students and parents, when they prepare for such kind of campus, normally they will already have a certain idea about where they want to go and what types of experience they want to have. But of course, for educators, there are also something that we can do, just keep emphasize the key highlight point of the program itself, and most importantly, the safety of the campus, which will always the biggest concern of the Chinese parents.
Yeah, maybe I can add a little bit here. Yeah, I had some conversation with agencies about this actually, because I got a lot of questions from educators about the policies and the influence of the relationship between countries. And the most recent answer and the most answer I got from agencies is that it's all about the image of the country promoted in China, and the parents, they don't react that much to those relationship changes, like instant changes, unless they will feel it won't be safe for their children to go to that country anymore. Otherwise, it doesn't instantly influence the student number or their destination preference. And I also have another example that I heard recently, is that in Zhengzhou, that city, the promotion level of Switzerland is really high, that influence the parents' preference, just because they have some really strong sales people there to promote the country. So it's all about the image, and I don't think you should worry about that. And also, if we enhance the promotion level, we can definitely change the destination preference. And as for Canada or for UK, for the US, it has been long set up their image. So I personally don't think, and also from the answer from agencies, the relationship won't affect that much, at least for a short term.
Indeed. Well, actually, I noticed a lot of questions are regarding the agencies, and also regarding, for example, there are one question regarding the visa processing, and is there any like a support? Well, overall, that as we explained, we always recommend to work with these suitable agents partners who already have a certain experience of sending students overseas and also helping with the visa process. And their consultant always have the first-hand information, and quite rich experience where they can be helpful. And as we just showed from our services, of course, this is also something that we can help with, especially for newcomers to the market. If you are struggling to get to know more agencies in China, just please feel free to reach out. And I believe that we can be helpful over here. And well, there are quite many questions, and thank you so much for this. But I'm afraid because of the time that we won't be able to answer all of that. But I'm happy to follow up after the webinar. And if there's any questions, just please feel free to reach out to us, email us, send us messages on different platforms. And we will follow up with emails to answer those questions that you might have. And well, thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar. And see you soon. Bye.